Hi there, welcome back. So in today's video we were going to show you a fantastic project, but the resin flash cured. So we've got a little bit of coloured resin left over from another project again, and we've also got this that I'm showing you now left over that needs to be used up. So off camera I mixed that up. It was a 1-to-1 ratio. We've got these two lovely pots that we're going to make some nice projects out of, and we've also got another little pot that I'm going to show you now, there we are, that we're going to use this leftover coloured resin for. So we're just going to move those two out of the way, put the small ring or trinket pot in play there, lovely little mould. The moulds and the resin, where we get them from, suppliers and details, all in the description box below. So just pouring the colours in. Obviously this has been sped up. Just layering up what was left pre-mixed in those little measuring jugs. So obviously this isn't nowhere near enough to fill up this little mould, but I just didn't want to waste what was left over in those lovely little mixing jugs there. So just adding a little bit of the clear that we have pre-mixed into there, and then we're gonna give the mould a little bit of a squish, trying to get rid of the air bubbles, anything that might be trapped at the bottom, because we don't want air bubbles in that. So then we'll just put that to one side. Making up some white now using the Polar White Vista pigment resin, and then we're using a drop, maybe two actually I think I used in the end, of the red Vista pigment for resin as one. And then there's a second one, and I don't want a red colour, I want a sort of pale corally colour. So I'm going to add quite a bit of white to it. Here we go, this is the white, Polar White Vista pigment. There we are, adding it in. Still got quite a bit of bubbles in the resin there as well, as you can see. Those do all dissipate eventually. So just going to mix that up nice and quick. Obviously I don't mix things quite that quickly. This has been sped up. Take care when you're mixing. Just make sure it's all thoroughly incorporated, and that is that beautiful salmon colour. So there we go. We're going to put some more purple in, again from Vista Pigments. I think that looks really gorgeous. Didn't look like a hell of a lot went in there, probably about the equivalent of about 3 drops. Stirring it up, it's a lovely deep opaque colour. Vista Pigments are all opaque colours that I'm using. If you want a bit of sheen, by all means add some gold mica powder. So then in the last one we're going to add some of these imitation silver foil flakes. So these can come out of the container in large clumps. Try and avoid those if you can. Just add them in a little bit at a time, or if you know how much you need, then obviously add that in, and then mix it up just to make sure that the resin is completely covering all of the silver leaf, which I'm going to do any moment now. Here we are, there we go. So we're just going to use a mini popsicle or lollipop stick to do that. Mix it up thoroughly, make sure it's all completely incorporated and coated over the silver leaf. So as you can see, the silver leaf has also broken down a bit within the resin. That's quite normal. Just make sure you haven't got any large solid chunks in there. And if you have, just take them out, put them to one side, because that's not going to look very good in your piece. So here we go with the square pot. So we're just pouring the silver leaf and the clear resin around the sides, hoping that it'll get down to the bottom. Just helping it there, helping it into its position a bit with the lolly stick there. And then what I'm actually going to use is this split cup. Now this is silicone. You can buy it online from Amazon, Shein, Temu, all your local places. And I'm just layering up all the individual sections with layers of the different colours. Now, note to self here, future projects, when I use this, I only fill up the 3 middle sections and leave the outer one. I just found that in future projects, it was easier to handle the split cup, because this is silicone, it's not rigid, it's flexible. It's a great thing to use. For me, it just needs a bit of practice. As you can see, there you go. It just seemed to then pour from everywhere rather than out of the central funnel part of the split cup. So there I'm just poured it in, given it a bit of a squish. It's got a lovely marbling effect, but obviously resin being resin, you never quite know how it's going to turn out. So I had lots left over, so got my trusty scallop shell moulds, or clamshell or pearl shell moulds, whatever you want to call them, and filled it up a bit, and then just rather satisfying sort of little squidge and manipulating the mould slightly so you can see all those bubbles coming up to the top and bursting. So this is obviously because there's still a lot of air pockets within the bottom of the mould. So finished filling up that one and still had plenty of resin left over. So went in again and filled up another mould, and also used the little micro brush there just to try and help it down into it, giving it a little bit of a squidge and a tap and a squidge and a bit of a prod and a poke. So yeah, there we go, and that used up all of the resin from there. So here we are at the demolding stage. This is 24 hours later. I think it was 24 hours, actually it might have been 12. Very carefully taking off the mould from the sides. You can see the base there. Any sharp edges you just get rid of with an emery board, give it a little light sanding, a bit like you would do if you're filing your nails, or use a little bit of sandpaper, or you could use a deburring tool. This bit was sped up because I wrestled quite a bit with this mould. I now know the technique is that you twist and pull when you're getting out the centre of the mould. Slightly still soft and pliable, this piece, so needed to reshape it a tiny bit. And then we're going to go in for a close-up, and oh my goodness, that is absolutely beautiful. Very, very happy with this indeed. You can see the silver leaf and the clear resin. You can see the mix of the pinky colours. Coral creamy has come out a bit creamy, and now the bottom has got a lot of bubbles on it, but we are going to be sanding it down, so really happy with that. So here's the small round pot that we started with at the very beginning. We did have enough resin left over just to fill it up. It looks really cute. Obviously the demolding's been sped up here. Going to sand off the bottom, and this may be a little present for a family member. So thank you for staying to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and why not leave us a comment? We're aiming for getting more subscribers, uploading twice a week on Sundays and Wednesday afternoons. So thanks again everybody, and take care and goodbye.